Hello, viewers, and welcome to the program. My guest today is without doubt one of Africa's new breed of dynamic leaders. His associates include the British Prime Minister Tony Blair, the American civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, and Nigeria's own former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He is the Prince of the Calabar Kingdom and a philanthropist. Today, he'll be talking to me about what he calls his greatest passion: assisting the poor and destitute in our communities. He's none other than the legendary Prince Tony Princewill. Prince Tony, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tony, for having me.
Thank you. Tell me, Prince Tony, what is Princewill's Trust and why did you set it up?
Well, I think really Prince's Trust is basically just trying to formalize the kind of help that we're giving. Very early on, I've been doing this for a while, but I discovered that unless it was institutionalized, it wouldn't be sustainable. And so I decided to institutionalize the story by putting together a team of people and the banner Prince's Trust to build an identity, to build capacity, and also make it bigger than just one person. So that's what Prince's Trust was set up for, and of course the objective remains the same, which is to reach out and touch people's hearts and of course people's minds in a meaningful way.
Very good, very good. Let me ask you, how long ago did you start up the Princewill Trust?
Prince's Trust has been running since 2007. Of course, we've been doing a lot of work in Nigeria since 2001. So it took a while before we got the platform in place. But of course, it's still very much in its infancy. I think it has done fairly well, but there's a lot of work to do. And we're hoping that individuals, organizations, people around the country and of course around the world will help Prince's Trust to grow. So it's still a little baby,
Right.
looking for nourishment and looking for some exposure.
Right. So this is 14 years now in the making, since you basically set it up from conception to date. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean one would argue, when did we start? Maybe
Yeah.
from my childhood, my parents taught me the need to remember the phrase "you're blessed to bless others."
Yeah.
So it's been a lifetime of it, but in any kind of formal way, I think our first big scheme was scholarship program, and yeah, the scholarship has been going on since 2002. So yeah, you can say formally we've been doing this for quite a few years now. Yeah.
That is very impressive. And the trust offers scholarships, and I noticed offer help to orphans and to widows as well, and other destitute citizens. What are some of the notable stories and achievements of the trust that you can remember?
I mean, I can remember a lot of them. Just to pick a few, of course, about a year ago we had some very serious floods, and it just came from nowhere. Obviously, there was very little warning, and many thousands of people were left homeless and completely without any support.
Right.
And Prince's Trust was quick to step in. And I remember walking into the camps and hearing the people say that we are the first official presence that had come there since they were in that crisis. I was quite touched by the resilience of the people, by the willingness of them to rise up to the challenge. And it wasn't a sad atmosphere, even though the event in itself was sad. But it wasn't a sad atmosphere. It was quite uplifting. And those are the kind of moments that remind us of how human we all are. Nobody sometimes can predict these things. These things usually come from nowhere.
Of
And
course.
if you're in a good position today, it doesn't necessarily mean that you might not be in a bad position tomorrow. I mean, we all hope for the best, but we need to prepare for the worst. And I think Princewill Trust is definitely a friend when you're a friend in need. That's one. I think several others. Of course, we've done a lot of work with orphans. Another one of our passions. And what we're doing with the orphans is quite unique. Instead of just going up to orphanages and giving them money, we are pushing them to bring out their talents and display those talents to the world. It's always good to look at an orphanage as a home for individuals. Those orphans are individuals. They mean something to themselves. They mean something to others. And of course, they mean something to the Princewill Trust. And what we're trying to do is get people to understand that there is individuals behind names. And we did a reality show, talent hunt, and in that process, we're able to bring out the singing talent of lots of these young kids within the orphanages. I mean, yes, and it was fantastic. It was a great experience. For them, of course, but of course also for us. A typical example, one of the major things I took from that was the winning orphanage, which was from Kogi State, which is, best way to describe it, is more like the central part of Nigeria.
Yes.
They had been attacked by armed robbers a couple of months to the final show. And one of the reasons they were attacked and it happened without any warning was because they had no fence. There was no fence around their compound.
Right.
And so they won 10 million. They won 10 million naira, which is about 40,000 pounds, as the first prize. And with that, they've gone on now to build a fence, which has secured them. And not only that, they've been able to pay their children's school fees and secure the kind of infrastructure that will help them even do better. And those are the kind of moments, those are the kind of reasons why Princewill Trust exists. And as much as we focus on River State and the Niger Delta, we are interested in Nigerians as a whole.
Right. I mean that's absolutely fantastic. I remember the flood one, and I saw it in the media coverage of what Princewill Trust was doing for that. But with these orphanages, for instance, you're actually also not just going there to give them food and water and all that. The trust has also given them monies and set them up in all these shows. Yes, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's quite important to actually start to look at their needs. Looking at their needs means going behind the scenes, means conversation, means dialogue. So there's a lot of that going on, and it's important that when helping, because we're just a small organization, relying very much on funds out of my pocket, that we want to make sure that every penny we spend is value for money. So we don't want to go about spending money where we haven't established exactly what is required, exactly what is needed. For instance, with the flood victims, for instance, people went to give them rice, went to give them tomatoes and all that. But if you don't give them firewood, then they have no means of cooking it.
Right. So the tomato and the rice becomes, useless, right?
Irrelevant.
Right.
Irrelevant. So the firewood costs significantly less.
Right.
Much more important because there they were with bags of rice, but no firewood to cook it. So and because of the flood, dry wood was no longer immediately available. So it's those kind of sensitive assessments that I think was missing, and I'm quite happy that we're able to establish exactly what the people needed before we helped them. Right.
Very good. And scholarships, can you talk to me about scholarships that Princewill Trust has issued and is issuing? My research shows that the trust issues a lot of scholarships.
Oh yeah, we do. We do undergraduate scholarships. We don't do very much in terms of primary or secondary. I mean, there are times we've done interventions in primary and secondary schools, but generally, what we do, which is standard and it goes on every year, is scholarship for university students, both undergraduate and postgraduate. And we do a lot, but not for as many as we would like. But we try to make it meaningful. And for instance, for the undergraduate scholarships, we give 50,000 naira per term per year for the undergraduate students, and 100,000 for the postgraduate students. Now, when you compare that with what the government is giving, which is less than 20,000 a year, we give more than the government gives. But of course, we give to fewer people. But I wanted to make the contribution meaningful enough that when a scholar receives it, he or she can actually use it to do something.
Right.
And also give them some kind of an incentive to make them want to continue. I mean, the scholarship is not automatic by any means. Yes, they have to take an exam to acquire the scholarship, but once they're on the scholarship, all they need to do is maintain a minimum CGPA, which ultimately would mean then that they would continue to be academically sound leading up to when they graduate. So it's that kind of thing that we're doing, and my hope and my prayer is that we will, continue to be able to offer this support, because it's really touching people's lives and it's really making a difference.
Fantastic. I noticed in my research that you've never held a political office or government office or even a government contract, as it were. So these funds for Princewill Trust essentially is coming from your own private resources and that of your sponsors. Am I right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've never held a political office before. I've been given the opportunity, but I've declined. Not because I find them boring, but it wasn't, I don't think, the right moment for me. I'm a petroleum engineer by training. I'm also a certified project manager. And I've sort of built my experience over the years as an IT consultant. So I've combined those three different disciplines to build myself, a fairly comfortable income. And I don't need that much. I'm not very expensive to run, so I try to look out for other places or other people I can invest in. That's what I've been doing. So a lot of the work financially has come from me, but I've had some help along the way, and I expect that as time goes on and people see the kind of work we're doing, the help will even increase. I've always believed in the concept of learning how to crawl before you run, and I want to show people that we can crawl and at least walk. And I'm sure that if we can do that, then along the way, people will come and help us run.
Very good. Now, let me get this straight. You're a successful businessman. You're a prince. You're very comfortable by any stretch of the imagination. Yet you're spending your personal funds, you're spending your personal time, and you're giving all these scholarships without government assistance, helping these widows, helping these orphans. May I ask you, sir, simple question, why?
Well, I mean, I'm not very comfortable by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that I just think that society like ours, there's a need for, like I said, the mantra by which I was brought up on is that you're blessed to bless others. And so we need to drag each other along in this winding road towards success. I don't think that, one's fortune should make you forget A, where you come from, and B, where you need to go. So I do that simply because I think it's a sense of duty. I'm the son of a traditional ruler. It therefore means then that beyond myself, I must think about a kingdom. And for me, my kingdom is bigger than just my father's. I think that my kingdom is the people who are less privileged. I like to speak for the people who have no voice. And I want us to look behind the headlines and see who we can touch. There are many people. Look at today, we're listening to a tea seller who is now becoming the Prime Minister of India. So how many Prime Ministers, how many presidents, how many individuals of repute are hiding behind these practices? I think that we can do our bit to bring these people out, and my hope is that tomorrow when my children are growing, they will find other people who can also help them as well.
Very good, very good. How can Nigerians, or indeed people in the world, assist you in your work, Prince Toyin?
Well, I think, look, encouragement comes in different forms. Sometimes it's just a kind word, sometimes it's thank you, sometimes it's writing a check, sometimes it's making contributions, contributions in kind. Sometimes it could be as little as volunteering your effort, volunteering your time, volunteering your services. So there are many ways in which that can happen. We try to give people work experience. Anybody who knows me knows that my number one priority in life is job creation. And so if people have jobs to offer, if people have opportunities to give, these are all ways in which people can help. There are many people who are willing to work hard, but are just looking for an opportunity. And so, if anybody can help in any of these regards, that would be helpful. But, beyond all of that, sometimes just the occasional words of encouragement, the occasional words of gratitude in themselves go a very long way.
Very good, very good. Clearly, what you're doing is exemplary and phenomenal by any standards. How much more Nigeria standards? What message do you have for Nigerians as a result of what you're doing and your thinking and all your activities? What if young Nigerians are listening to you now? What message do you have for them this time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think what I'm doing is phenomenal at all. I think I'm only just starting. If it's phenomenal now, then there's nothing to grow to. I think we're starting. We're in our infancy. I believe we're going to be doing a lot better. But I just want everyone to reflect on what they can do in their own little way. You don't have to touch 100 lives. You don't have to touch 200 lives. You just need to touch one. And if that one is touching another, then, of course, the ripple effect can only be left to the imagination. So my message to the younger generation is that they should stand up, they should speak with confidence, they should have a clear goal in their mind, and just walk. Somebody will help them run. The idea behind what I'm doing is just to show not just those who are less privileged, but those who are privileged, that there's a need for them to reach out and touch other people. So the idea that you are blessed to bless others is a message not just for the privileged, but also for the less privileged. Even if you're less privileged, there's something that you have that another man does not. And so the idea is that you look at yourself and think prosperity, don't think poverty. Think prosperity. It's not about where you are today, it's about where you could be tomorrow. So even if things are not looking up for you today, smile in anticipation of tomorrow. That's my message.
Very good, very good. Now, how can people contact you? I'm a businessman, I have some money to give, I'm an educator, I want to be part of what Princewill Trust is doing because it's doing a good work. How can the public contact you and what sort of information will be available to them, for instance?
So, I mean, we try to centralize our information. So, SonyaPrincewill.com is a good way to start. And if you go on to SonyaPrincewill.com, you have all our contact details. My Twitter handle is @SonyaPrincewill. Again, you can reach me there. So, it's quite easy to get through to us. We're quite available. And in this digital world, we try to make ourselves very, very available. So, we're there if you want to get to us by email. That information is there. By phone calls, that information is there. And of course, by social media, that information is there. But if you're still in the analog stage and you want to walk up to our offices, then of course the address to our office is also there. And through that address, you can get to us in our office.
Well, it's been very, very enlightening talking to you, Prince Toyin. But before I finish and before I let you go, sir, what is a parting message you have for Nigerians at this hour?
Well, look, in this time well, going through our own unique set of challenges. I think the message that I really have is that I want Nigerians to look beyond protest and start to focus on progress. They should have hope. They should think about one Nigeria, irrespective of our differences. Let us look at that as a strength, not a weakness. And if we're positive, then of course the future is bright. I'm not going to say the future is orange, as they say in the UK, but the future is bright, and I think that we'll be alive and well to see a much more prosperous Nigeria in the years to come.
Well, that brings us to the end of our conversation. Thank you very much, Prince Tanya. And you heard viewers to contact the Prince. If you go to his website, www.tonyaprincewill.com, you'll be able to contact him there and get all the information that you require. On this note, we'll bring the conversation to an end and say thank you, Prince, and hopefully we'll see you again another time. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Take care.